startled. Then color began to stain her cheeks. No, I'm just clumsy. I tripped over my back porch steps, that's all. She reached for a satin-covered hanger. Here, let me put this away in the work closet. And she hastened from the room, taking the royal blue creation with her. Megan approached, holding Kelly's slacks and short-sleeve top. Early September, and it still felt like summer outside. "Don't ask her anything else, Kelly," Megan whispered when she was closer. "Those bruises are from her husband, Oscar. Mimi told me Zoe had confessed to her about her husband's abuse a year ago. Mimi tried to get her to leave him, but Zoe hasn't so far." Megan glanced over her shoulder to the doorway. "I cannot understand why women stay in those relationships, Kelly." A familiar scowl darkened Megan's pretty features. Kelly slipped on her crisp slacks. "I think it's because they're scared, Megan. Scared of what will happen if they try to leave, especially if there are young children at home." Megan's scowl evaporated and was replaced by a contrite expression. "You're right, Kelly. I know you are. But there are shelters here in town for women to escape to with their children. I just wish Zoe would think about going. She doesn't even have children." "I'd like to think so too, Megan," Kelly said, slipping the lightweight top over her head. "It seems everyone has a breaking point when they decide enough." Zoe came around the corner of the fitting room, a gauzy bit of ribbons and tiny silk flowers in her hand. "Here, Kelly, let's take a look with the headpiece. I finished this one yesterday." Kelly took the delicate confection and fingered the tiny seed pearls and blue and white silk flowers that adorned the taffeta-wrapped headband. "This is so pretty, Zoe. Simply exquisite." Zoe beamed. "Thank you, Kelly. I love working with those silky flowers. They turn out so nicely. Try it on and let's take a look." Kelly did as directed, adjusting the headpiece's small combs into her hair. Gazing at her reflection, she almost didn't recognize herself. Kelly never wore ribbons or flowery things, but the way Zoe had arranged them, they were very flattering. "I look like I should be going to a fairy tale ball in some castle rather than poring over financial statements," she teased. "Well, wait until Steve sees you in this dress," Megan said slyly. "He may invite you to one of those fancy Denver charity balls." Kelly deliberately didn't look at Megan. She already knew what Megan was doing. Smiling. Now that Kelly was working in Denver several days a week, she and Steve had lunch or dinner together whenever they were both in town. Consequently, Megan had made it a point to offer frequent suggestions as to other recreational activities Kelly and Steve could pursue. Suggestions, Megan always claimed. Planting seeds, Kelly surmised. Once Steve started driving up to Fort Connor this past spring and summer to play baseball on his old team, Kelly and Steve had a chance to be in each other's company on a regular basis. Familiar ground. It had made it easier for them to move to the next step of having dinner together. Of course, Megan and the rest of the gang were careful to maintain a relaxed environment. No expectations, Kelly had told them. Now that she and Steve had gotten past their sudden and dramatic breakup last year, Kelly figured both of them needed simply to be friends right now, while they figured out what came next. What did the future hold in store? She didn't know. All Kelly knew was she enjoyed having Steve back in her life. After all, they'd started out as friends before they became lovers once before. Maybe they could again. Right now, they were two friends who really enjoyed each other's company. They talked on the phone every day, even when Steve was traveling on business for the Denver company where he worked. Having watched his own small architect and builder business go belly up in the recession that followed the recent housing debacle, Steve threw his energy and creativity into Sam Kaufman's construction company. Sam appreciated Steve's efforts and encouraged